All right, MAGA is on the rise, happy and victorious. So we are excited this week for what is going on. All right, let's see what's happening here. There we go. Number one, we are winning in the polls.
As always.
Take a look at what's happening, especially in North Carolina, a very important state. Trump already up by 4. He only won it by 1% last year, or last go around, so this is big news. Check out how much Trump is over Biden in Iowa. He's up by 11.
Wow.
This is huge. And then hot off the press, like an early Christmas gift, Mitt Romney has decided to not run again as senator for Utah. And this is huge. He was obviously Trump's largest enemy in the Senate, just seeking to destroy Trump at every opportunity. And I think it's fair to say that this was a blessing. This was sort of like, I'll go as far as to say, Trump was taking care of Israel's enemies in office and did so wonderfully. Now, it looks like God is taking care of Trump's enemies.
Amen.
For him.
That's right.
Amen.
That's
And
right.
you even think of how it's going for Mitch McConnell, who probably won't be around for that much longer in the Senate. Also huge, Sound of Freedom continues to rocket upward. It is now at 211 million, 15 times they've gotten in the box office what they had been budgeted for.
All right.
We also have really big wins in court. One of the biggest wins is what Trump has stated. He said about the trial in Georgia, he said, yes, absolutely, I will take the stand in my own defense.
Good.
So there is going to be so much attention given to him, what he will say and the evidence brought forth in Georgia. It's going to be absolutely electric. So that's very good news that he's willing to, yeah, I'll take the stand. We also had something big happen in Arizona regarding voting and ballots. Judge Napper ruled, hey, this common practice, what you've been trying to do in Arizona, just comparing the signature on the ballot to any old signature you bring in, that's not good enough. It has to now match the very prior voter registration card. If it doesn't do that, he goes, then the vote should not be counted. So they're going to have to go back in Arizona and really rethink how they've been counting these ballots and these strange signatures that have been going on. We also have a very big win regarding free speech. What the Fifth Court has done. They upheld the district court below them, their order that prohibits the White House, the Surgeon General, the CDC, and the FBI from violating the First Amendment rights of Americans. It was regarding the case called Missouri versus Biden, which showed, hey, the White House and the DOJ explicitly and implicitly threatened big tech to begin censoring Americans on social media platforms. That was a big deal. And other happy news coming down the pike. We're at day 134 of the Writers Guild strike. All right, so, very good. My favorite number for today is 134. And next week, I think it's going to be 141. So we're just so happy about all this. And then, all right, who keeps putting these Trump 1 slides in here? All right, we also have some really great news coming up about the 2024 election. First of all, I don't know if you can totally see this, but Biden says, you know, I was there on 9/11, the site. I was there at Ground Zero the very next day overseeing the rubble, except he wasn't. And so Biden going out of his way to remind us to not vote for him come 2024. So he is really helping at the moment, the 2024 elections. Also, picking up on this are major, I would say mainstream news broadcasts, well in this case podcasts. Joe Rogan, he's saying, yeah, Biden is mentally compromised. This is going out to 11 million people, mostly moderates, swing voters, independents. So They know there's a problem. Also, what's going to impact the 2024 election is what Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham has just done by outlawing guns in Albuquerque for 30 days. What has she done? She has woken up the sleeping beast. Who is that? That's the NRA. The NRA is going to pour votes into this election. It's the worst thing she possibly could have ever done as far as waking up the NRA. So the NRA is going to help everyone to remember, vote Republican or your guns are gone. It's almost like the third rail of politics, how you never touch Social Security. Well, you also never rile up the NRA. Also, very good news regarding the 2024 election is who is not going to run at the top of the ticket. Gavin Newsom says, I will not run. This was big news that came out. He said, I'm going to let the filing deadline pass by. He's a very savvy politician. He looks very handsome. He can speak well. He would have been very difficult to beat. Why is he not able to do that? Because of her. She's the very reason that he can't file papers and run. And Larry Elder explained this on back in June, Larry Elder explained why this was never going to happen for Newsom. He said it's very clear to him that it's because the black women voters want Kamala Harris. It is her nomination to have. If anything was to happen to Biden, if they tried to replace Biden with, let's say, Gavin Newsom, or who's that mayor from, it was in Indiana, that little mayor guy, it wouldn't work. They would never. What's this? Yeah, Mayor Pete. If they tried to replace him by Mayor Pete, wouldn't happen. Why? Because it would so deeply offend the black women vote, they would never forgive the DNC. They wouldn't vote Republican, but they would never show up to the 2024 election and place a vote. They would stay home. And so the Democrats are in a real pickle, right? They can't replace Biden. They have to go with him. And even if they tried to remove Biden and just let Kamala run in his place, well, she is the most unelectable public figure that's out there. So they, for as bad as things might look to the Republicans, the Democrats have a 5-alarm fire and they have no way out. And now at this time, we do have a special word and some reflections from Dr. Fauci. Okay, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on from Dr. Fauci. All right. We also have something interesting, an Elon Musk update. There's a lot going on Twitter. Something huge that we found out about was what Elon Musk had, his involvement in the Ukraine war, what he didn't do. This just happened, the news on this broke, I believe it was the 8th of September. What happened? Elon Musk turned off his Starlink network to prevent a Ukrainian attack on the Russian fleet. I'll try to explain it better. He secretly ordered his engineers turn off my Starlight satellite communications network, right? Because the Ukrainians were going to do a sneak attack on the entire Russian fleet and sink them. And they were very close. They were going to sink them right in the harbor. But what were they doing? They were taking submarine drones, the Ukrainians, strapped with explosives. They were nearing the Russian fleet when Elon Musk turned off the navigation system through Starlink. Why did he do this? Because if they had succeeded in sinking the entire Russian fleet, it would have been nuclear war. This man stopped World War III, and there's others. He deserves the Nobel. Just when you think it's easy being the richest man in the world, he's dealing with some very, very serious stuff. And on his good days, Elon is a very, very good guy. Of course, there's been pushback by the State Department saying, you're kind of a traitor, you're not behind the Ukraine. So Elon writes, listen, I am a citizen of the United States and have only that passport. No matter what happens, I will fight for and die in America. The U.S. Congress has not declared war on Russia. If anyone is treasonous, it is those who call me such. Please tell them that very clearly. So it's interesting to hear about the heart of Elon through his writing. And you can see some of the unique things he's commenting on.
That is very good.
He's in his social media. What did he post? Well, ALX had posted this, that Trump's unprecedented campaign pitch is, elect me to get revenge on the government. And Elon had a little quip to add. He says, this is increasingly appealing. So Elon's he's showing some conservative backbone. Some conservative backbone.
He might be a convert yet.
The Babylon Bee had done a funny post about Biden. Republicans are calling for the impeachment of whoever is telling Biden what to do. Well, Elon Musk comments on it, and he says, the real president is whoever controls the teleprompter. So, wow, yeah, dropping some heavy truth. Also, Tara had said, Elon Musk says people are going to leave California over this new bill where parents lose custody of their children if they don't affirm their gender identity. And then she asks her followers, would you leave? Elon Musk picked this up and he goes, yes. Yes, I would. As a father, I would leave California over that.
Yeah.
Also, Mario was commenting on how the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, had banned Trump from Twitter. Is that election interference? Question mark. Elon Musk writes, accurate. Yes, it is election interference. So he is having some very, very conservative leanings. Nathan said, hey, the new ADL logo just dropped. It's just going to be DL. They're just a defamation league is all. And Elon Musk is like, that is perfect. That's perfect. And so lastly, Elon Musk had said, this platform will fight for free speech. It is the bedrock of democracy. So Elon Musk is doing his best to kind of hold the ropes for democracy, for conservatism, for just common sense, godly values. We are lucky that he bought out Twitter and that he is at the helm. Now, for some really interesting news that most people I don't think have really picked up on. I call it the trip. Last week, President Trump took a trip. Where? He went out to South Dakota to be endorsed by who? Governor Kristi Noem. But what really went on? It wasn't a Trump rally. The rally was called the South Dakota Monumental Leaders Rally. I'm from South Dakota. I don't even know what that means. So it wasn't a Trump rally. Governor Noem was not up for re-election in 2024, so she did not need Trump there, although she said, I'd like to ask you to come and speak. It wasn't a campaign stop for President Trump. Why? Because you don't campaign in South Dakota. In the last election, it was 2-1 in favor of Trump for the vote. And you have South Dakota, you don't get many electoral votes. So it's not a campaign stop. And it wasn't a thank you to Governor Noem. Why? Because Trump doesn't need an endorsement that badly. When the Alaska governor, who's a total rhino, endorsed him a couple weeks prior, Trump did not even send a thank you by tweet. So what was really going on out in South Dakota? This is what was going on. And this is what flashed up on the screen for about 8 to 10 seconds.
Oh, no.
So let me explain what's happening here.
Interesting.
Well, in short, Trump was going out to look at his, I believe, top pick on a VP candidate. Let's talk about that for a second. Some experts would say, Trump is looking for someone more like himself. No, that would not be correct. Others would say, Trump is looking first and foremost for someone who will be unabashedly loyal. No, that's not what Trump is looking for. In a vice president, he's looking for one thing. Who will give me the greatest chance to win? How can we better frame that? Well, the 2016 and the 2020 election were very helpful in learning how to win. All right? What did we learn? We learned the states that are red and the states that are blue. The states that are red, Trump will win no matter who he chooses. He could choose Mickey Mouse and win in a red state. There are states that are very deeply blue. Trump is not going to win a very deeply blue state unless we go back to same-day voting, voter ID, and paper ballots, okay?
Yes.
But there's another little group of states. They're called swing states. Those are obtainable, and those are what will determine the winner of the 2024 election. So when we bring it down a little clearer, who is Trump looking for in a VP? If you can answer this question, you know who he's going to choose. It's who can deliver the swing states. Now, there's not that many swing states. There's only 6 of them. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Arizona, Georgia.
Go.
The top 3 are the most important. Why? Because even though North Carolina is sort of rough, Trump won it both in 2016 and 2020. And there is so much attention now being given to the voting in Arizona and Georgia, it's going to be really hard to do the same amount of voter fraud. Trump totally won Georgia. We all know that. Georgia knows that now. In Arizona, there is so much heat on how the machines are running. Attention doesn't need to be given there. But you need to win 4 out of 6 of these to become president. So who is Trump really looking for in a VP? He's looking for who can win Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania for him. What are those known as?
The Rust.
The Rust Belt. And what's on the heart and minds of voters? Inflation, health care, and can you cross the aisle a little bit and work with the other side? So in short, Trump needs someone who can go up to the Rust Belt and project compassion, confidence, and talk common sense to who? To the moderates, the independents, and the swing voters up there. Someone who knows how to speak their language and can show, all the people, we can turn this thing around for you. Someone that the people would feel comfortable with as president if, God forbid, something bad happened to Trump. And lastly, he needs someone who can project calm, confidence, and maturity and tell these swing voters, I will make sure you are taken care of. Why is this so crucial? Because Trump is going to be tied up in courts during the entire campaign starting in January of 2024. And there's probably going to be more indictments against him in this fall. So he's going to be in court. He can't have a novice out there trying to run the show. So let's just for fun take a look at the top 10 possibilities that everyone is talking about for his VP. There's RFK Jr., a little bit fanciful, right? Why? Well, you have to ask yourself, is the Republican Party ready to have a VP who's pro-abortion and pro-gay marriage? No, probably not. Although we are very grateful for some of his other conservative stances.
Yes.
Just like we're very grateful for MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene. The only thing is, she's a real fighter. And I don't think you can have 2 fighters on the ticket at top and bottom and expect to try to connect without spooking your moderates. Also, her December divorce probably will weigh negatively on her. You have Carrie Lake.
Yeah.
But again, a fighter. Probably can't have 2 fighters on both the top of the ticket and the bottom. You can't have President Trump outran and raven and Carrie Lake outran and raven. We love her. I think she'll be next cycle, but the only thing is, she hasn't won anything yet.
No.
And she's never, no offense, but she's never run anything. So those 2 things, independents, moderates, and swing voters will care about. Who else do we have? We have Tim Scott.
Yeah.
Ooh.
No.
We don't know what, no one I don't think knows what to think of him. A handsome, fairly tall man, former athlete, worth $35 million, and he never married. He's 54, never married. Kind of strange. And then to send him up to the Rust Belt, I don't see it. I don't see it. We have Elise Stefanik. She's great, but she looks so young. She kind of looks like the girl next door. I don't think she's got the magic. Then you have Vivek. And you have to ask yourself, is America ready for a Hindu president? I don't think so. Then you have Nikki Haley. Only if you want to pour cold water all over MAGA. Okay? So, you know, we're through 8 of them already, and there's only about 10 that could qualify. Marsha Blackburn.
Oh, sorry.
Only problem, and no offense, she's 71 years old. And when you're going into a race where age is a factor, you can't bring 2 older people like Trump and her. I just think she would be too old. Then you have some real novices like Byron Donalds. He's only a second-time congressman. She's just too new, too unknown. You have Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Yes.
She just got into office. She's just so young, so new. You can't bring a novice into the heat of a 2024 election campaign. So you circle back and are almost forced to circle back to here. But who are you getting with her? Here's what you're getting: a 4-time US Congresswoman, a 2-term governor, who has the hottest economy of all 50 states, and who did more than any other politician to help Trump in 2020. And you might say, Lawrence, are you serious? She traveled to North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Iowa, Georgia, Missouri, Oregon, Minnesota, Florida, New Hampshire, Maine, and Wisconsin to stump for President Trump in 2020. She is the best candidate to reach the Rust Belt voters because she can speak their language and she can point to her state. The mother of 3, and also, and Trump doesn't miss this, she is the second best on television of all the candidates. The only person that could beat her is Carrie Lake, okay? And she regularly goes on Fox. She knocks it out of the park, and MAGA loves her.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on her. Keep an eye on her. It appears Trump went out just to kind of check on his top prospect. And what did she signal to Trump? She gave him the green light. She signaled, I'm ready, my family's ready for the rigors of what we are going to have to go through to get through the election. So it's exciting. I think the wheels are very much in motion. Also very positive, Trump is going to be on the Megyn Kelly show. Why is this important? Because she is a massive, moderate, independent, swing voter kind of podcast leader. And she is airing a huge segment with President Trump tomorrow on September 14th. So Trump is getting really good traction into the middle ground of America where the election will be won. And lastly, on a high note, was who won the US Open? Coco.
Yes.
Look at what she decided to do right after winning the US election. God bless Coco Gauff.
Yes. Hallelujah.
When that is what you show the nation, that it is very appropriate and even important to pray to God and give thanks. She, with her strong faith, reminds America what to do after any situation, especially on the highs of moments of victory. So a lot of interesting and great stuff happening for our nation, for which we give God thanks.
Amen.
That is it.
Thank you.